Big night at Happy Valley on Thursday nights this week with the public holidays here in Hong Kong. Different night for us as Oktoberfest rolls into town as well. A very warm welcome to Racing to Win. I'm Andrew Lejeune. Good to have your company. It is Paul Lally, our form expert, and Brett Davis as well, our race caller. Brett, no cup races as such, but again, a really strong end to the programme. 3 Class 3s and a Class 2.
Absolutely, yeah, no, there's some good quality racing, no doubt about that, Andrew. And yes, as you've mentioned, Thursday night action at Happy Valley. I think there'll be a huge crowd in attendance. We've had a couple of public holidays during the week as well. Some people would have thrown in a couple of COs or, an annual leave day there to make it a bit of a long week's break, I suppose. Yeah. So, yeah, there'll be plenty of people on course. And it should be a good night of racing. Very competitive, I think.
Hopefully the weather holds up as well. It's been a bit indifferent so far, but Paul, some decent jackpots to get our teeth into as well. Yeah,
two good ones to talk about. We've got a $1.6 million triple trio jackpot and a 1.86 win bonus jackpot. So a bit of free money floating around, and some of the races are pretty even races. The last one in particular, I think when I looked just before we came down, the favourite was $5.50. So shows you.
All right. We're just about to have a look back on the weekend's action here in Hong Kong, but Blizzard, mighty race from him on the weekend too.
Yeah, I thought he ran a terrific race. Sort of at the 300 metres, he was under a fair bit of pressure, but we know he can run a strong 1400. He kept up a good gallop and was doing his best work late. Very creditable effort.
Yeah, they're talking now maybe Red Falcons for the mile as opposed to the sprint, which would be very exciting if he made the trip in December. But speaking of the weekend, let's look back on Sunday's action with Ed Sadler.
Group racing for the new season got underway at Charton on Sunday. The first of the features, the Group 3 National Day Cup for the sprinters, where most of the attention was on Mr. Stunning and DB Pin. However, it was an unexpected result in the end.
Dashing Fellow not missing to me, break clear, Dashing Fellow, the outsider.
Not only did Moore land the top prize with Dashing Fellow, but his other runners, Not Less Than To Me and Magic Legend, finished 2nd and 4th respectively. As for the rest, Joe Moreira said that he was not disappointed with the performance of highly rated sprinter Mr. Stunning, despite his defeat.
That was a fantastic run. He kind of just flew out of the gate, put himself in front at the first stride. Not that I want to be there, but he just landed in that position, which wouldn't be the ideal. And he fought on very strongly towards the line. Considering that he was carrying the top weight and he used a little bit of himself early, I think there is plenty to improve on him, and I'm very happy with his run.
The wet conditions and the change of tactics were the difference for Beauty Generation, who landed his biggest win to date in the Celebration Cup.
Beauty Generation trying to pinch it, still too clear. Seasons Bloom, winner's way. What a tactical ride from Derek Long. Beauty Generation.
I know the breed love a cut in the ground, and the original plan was to ride him back, but when I saw the heavens open up and it started to rain, I said to the owner, do you mind if I go forward on him and just see whether we may be able to get up handy this time? And Derek was able to get across quite easy.
It was a great day for Derek Leung, who went on to win the final event on the card as Pingwu Spark continued his perfect start to the season. Jin Jing Win's performance earlier in the day was also noteworthy, with the promising son of Starcraft returning to the winner's circle for the first time in nearly a year.
He's been quite difficult to handle. He can get himself quite worked up mentally, and that carries through to his barrier behaviour. And if he ticks those boxes, then I think we can concentrate on more on where his talent is and what distance he's best suited, and how far he can go.
The group racing action continues on the 22nd of October at Sha Tin, with running of the Premier Bowl and Sha Tin Trophy.
John Moore taking out the 2 features. Maybe start with Beauty Generation. It was a very tactically astute ride from Derek, got to the front and just stayed there, basically.
Yeah, well, we know the form line behind him is outstanding. Rapid Dragon, Pakistan Star ran 1st and 2nd in the Derby. He finished 3rd. Seasons Bloom finished in 4th, and he was the favourite for the race. It was, I guess most people probably thought he would go back, sort of first run leading into his preparation, but as John Moore mentioned there, change of tactics. When he was out in front and rolling, he was going to be very difficult to get past, so good run from him. There were a couple of nice runs, Eagle Way and Booming Delight, both ran well, Paul. Yeah,
Booming Delight was wide most of the way. Eagle Way finished off the race nicely. Beauty Generation, I mean, the rain helped, obviously, as well. But you do see these stayers sometimes that can really sprint fresh, can't you? And that was the case of this one.
Well, you got 6 points for that. Of course, the other group winner on the day was Dashing Fellow. Certainly caught me by surprise, but there was money for him.
Yeah, he was really well back, Dashing Fellow. He came right in. I think he ended up getting brown or pretty close to it at the end, and and you can see a good win from Pingwu Spark there. He's gone up 6. He's up to 87.
Yeah, just touching on that last race, Pingwu Spark and, of course, Casper Fownes' horse, which Southern Legend ran him within a head. If you have a look at the time there, they ran 1.9 and a bit of change. If you go back to last year's International Sprint, Aero Velocity ran 1.8.8. Let's not forget, the track was downgraded, I think, after race 8 to good to yielding. So on the clock, those two horses have run particularly well. If that was a good track, what time would they have run? Yeah. Both those horses, I think, potentially are headed towards, you know, the elite level sprint-wise here.
Yeah, I agree. Especially when Pingwu Spark, he dropped his whip too. So if you have a look, you can see on that replays.
He wouldn't even know it. Derek's hitting it with his hand.
Yeah.
He wouldn't even feel that.
No. Different types of horses. Pingwu Spark jump, run, and just keep, you know, thriving on high speed, whereas Southern Legend sit back and a closer. But both exciting horses.
Yeah, well, we'll see that race again in a second because there was a run in behind it I thought that was worth picking up on. But let's get into them. The horses to follow from Sunday. All right, so Paul is always up first, and inexperienced horse for you?
Yeah, first starter with an unusual name called Fortunate Runner. So Fortunate Runner is a Tavistock horse and like Campanella, so a lot of breeding there over longer distances. This was fresh here over 1,400 metres, first start here in Hong Kong. I thought he stayed on really nicely. Once he gets up to 1,600, 1,800, he's definitely a winner waiting to happen, I think. He didn't give it away the whole way down the straight. I thought it was a really good run from him. You can see with the pink side weakers on there. So as far as debuts are concerned, he definitely caught my eye, and I thought there's plenty more to come from him.
Have you got shares in Tavistock?
Tavistock, no. I like the breed, though.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm Werther, of course.
You're on Werther's bandwagon before he even arrived in Hong Kong. I'm going to go with a horse called Sun Touch out of the Jing Jing Win race. I think there's a number of races on the card from the weekend that will be good form references. The last, this. Just like the way he kept up a gallop here. This was his first run in basically a year. He's had a lot of issues, this horse, but there's obviously some talent there. He went in here on a rating of 62. Won't be too long, I think, until he drops into Class 4. Just like the way he kept battling on here. He got past horses like Money Boy and sort of just kept staying on nicely. First run in a year, I thought it was a very good effort in what was a good race.
Jing Jing Win was the biggest mover on the weekend with a 7 rating point rise. For me, I'm going to the last race. So this is the Pingwu Spark Southern Legend race. There is Pingwu Spark, the big grand, Southern Legend, the yellow jacket letting down. But this was Sleep Education's first start. He was Vilakazi when he raced in South Africa, trained by Brett Crawford, and one particular form line, the Winter Guineas. There was a Grade 3 contest behind Marinesco, went on to win the Durban July. That form reads very well indeed. He was over at 100 to 1 here. You can just see him just staying on quite strongly in the closing stages. He hasn't got involved in the finish at all, but he'd surely take a step forward from this.
I spoke to a few good judges before the program started, Andrew, and he was a horse that was brought up in conversation as being one to watch. Very talented.
Yeah. Hard Promise was on his tail as well. I don't fall into that category of good judges either, obviously. But there we go, suspensions.
Only at lunch we spoke.
Sam Cliverton picked up a couple of days on Grade 1, winning. 2 days and 15,000 and Alberto Invincible Fresh. He actually ran a nice race, Invincible Fresh. A couple of days for him. The 14th and 19th, he will sit out. Now, we've got to go back to the trials here as well, because I'm sure you'd have heard that Pakistan Star was back on track. Well, he was out anyway. There he is in the green jacket, but unfortunately up to his old tricks.
Yeah, what a real disappointment. I'm not sure really what to say here, Andrew. Like most people, I'm frustrated, I'm disappointed as a connections and jockey and trainer. You know, this doesn't happen. It happens, but it doesn't happen all the time. It's just unfortunate that he's, you know, one of the most talented gallopers we've got here in Hong Kong. We spoke about the form line before, Rapid Dragon, Pakistan Star and Beauty Generation, first 3 in the Derby. We know what he did last season, required to do a whole lot of trials. It hasn't been successful. The stewards have now suggested that he's got to do some more trialling, 2 gallops from the 1,800 metres down the back stretch, and then 2 barrier trials over 1,600 metres. All 4 tests must be completed consecutively without issue. If not, they will revisit the embargo put on Pakistan Star, which is very interesting indeed. What do you think, Paul? What do you do with him?
Yeah, well, I don't know. It seems to be that one spot, doesn't it? Because it's exactly the same spot that he pulled up last time, or around that sort of down the back straight. And that's why they're doing this these series of tests. So I mean, Tony Cruz, I mean, he's saying he just wants to get the horse's head right. He's going to take as much time as he needs. He might not even race again this season.
There's every chance.
Yeah.
It's hard to see him getting past that test on the way he's going at the moment. They took the hood off to try and make him more alert. That obviously hasn't happened. Who knows? Maybe he needs 6 months in a paddock somewhere and start again. He's a good horse. He's worth it.
There'll be plenty of opinions floating around. We wish Tony and the rest of the team the best of luck with Pakistan Star and getting him back on track as well. We need to get back on track, though, and head towards Happy Valley's Thursday night programme with the withdrawn horses. Speedy Achiever is out for Michael Freeman. Radiant Treasure now gets a start. Keith Young in at the south. So 8 races, of course, on the turf, and we're on the A course as well Thursday night. We kick things off with a Class 5 over the 1650. Victory Follow Me. Blinkers back on. Barrier 12 for Zach Purton. Choice Exchequer a roll from Barrier 6. Gold Velvet and Fruitful Life both into Class 5 for the first time. Planet Giant, course and distance winner in May. Double Point gets a gear change as well. The visor going on, as does Faithful Boy. Pacifiers off. Blinkers back on.
Good to slow. Now, Choice Exchequer, Faithful Boy should be up on the lead. Planet Giant should get a lovely run from barrier number 1. Don Wong Choi's got a little bit of speed. Poor old Victory Follow Me's come up with a very poor barrier again, gate number 12, so you would think, as was the case last time, they'd just drop him back to last and hope there's some pace on up front.
Yeah, they're putting the blinkers on him too, so we'll just see if that changes. Here's Dutch Windmill, though, now. Joe Moreira's riding this horse. He's got a tricky draw, barrier 9. Here's a 2-time winner from his 28 starts. He seems reasonably forward for his work. This is his first gallop here. 27th of the last one just leading into the race. Fruitful Life, he's changed stables. I thought I'd show him. He's now with Frankie Law, Karis Teaton aboard. And I think Frankie's got him going along quite nicely, this horse. He seems to be working pretty well in the mornings. That was his first gallop. And here's his second gallop now. A nice slow one, but the horse looks relaxed. He did nothing really from Paul O'Sullivan's stable. He finished last 3 times and finished second last once, but there seems to be some sort of improvement, has dropped. This is the best piece of track work I think I saw for the whole day. Really nice. Gold Talent, he's up and trip, and Armin Lee's had a winner now. I think he'll be really hard to beat on that gallop.
Going quicker than you and your purple Lamborghini, Paul.
I wish, purple.
He's our early favourite, is Gold Talent. Let's start things off, though, with a number of these coming out of this race behind Speedy Wally. Victory Follow Me, just looking for a gap there. He eventually runs second.
Yeah, and this was the run that you and I liked him in, Andrew. He got on the back of Speedy Wally, who came out and won again at his next start. Had he drawn a gate, I would have tipped him, but he's come up with gate 12. He had 11 last start. He went back. The best he could do was run into 4th behind Lerpa Gas. I think the barrier's the hindrance again. Paul said blinkers on. Do you think that might change tactics with him?
Well, I don't know. Obviously, they use it to sharpen him up and keep him focused. But from barrier 12, well, you know, they did go back last time. Maybe he finished second.
He'll have to come out running if he's going to cross some of these others, like Choice Exchequer.
He was 4th from barrier 11 last time out, so we'll see what Zach can do there. Invisible, winner over the 1,400 metres. First up, steps up to the 1,650.
Yeah, and he hits the line really well. I thought it was quite a good win from him. He's only rated 32, this horse. Whether he can put 2 together, he hasn't in the past. That's a question mark I have.
Yeah, he's had 3 goes over the 1650 at the Valley and hasn't been able to do it. But he has won 3 in the class. Dare I say it, not a lot of people saw this coming, did they? 15 to 1 chance, got there in the end. He has been known to do this from time to time. I'm going to let him go. I'm not sure he can do it again.
All right, OK, that's Invisible. A couple of trials to have a look at, starting off with Noted Performer. Nashville will jump on board here from barrier 11.
Yeah, now this is A Beautiful winning the trial, and this is a horse you've put up from track work a few times last year, Paul, and I know Jenny's put him in tips from the paddock a few times as well.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a chance because it looks like he had needed ground the whole time he was running on. This will be his second start in Class 5 over the 1650 trip, so I think he can run well. His first start in Class 5 was on the all-weather. Now he's coming to Happy Valley for the Class 5 for the first time. So with that downgrade, I think he can run quite well.
Natural Will has been aboard in a couple of trials and rides.
We've got 2 downgraders then, Gold Velvet and this chap, Fruitful Life.
You know, the interesting thing with Fruitful Life is, as I said, he's got horrible form. He's second last. He's changed stables. He's now in Class 5. They're all in Class 4. And he looks like he's improved in the off-season, so it's whether you take a chance with him. He hasn't produced yet, but do you take a chance? What price has he come up? At the moment, he's 20-22, so there's not that much.
It wasn't a bad trial,
yeah.
And we know what these horses with Frankie Law have been able to do so far. he's a question mark horse.
All right, nice straightforward Class 5 to kick things off, Paul.
Yeah, it is. I think Gold Talent will win. So I've got him on top. I like that track work, and up at the 1650 is perfect. Noted performer we've talked about. Don Walsh will be on the pace. And double point, he's dropped 26 pounds, got the visor on, and a good draw. 8, 6, 11 and 9, and back 8 to win.
Yeah, I'm with you, Paul. I thought that was magnificent work from Gold Talent. Him on top. Planet Giant gets the run of the race. Victory Follow Me will close in. Double point. The 2 question mark horses, A Fruitful Life and Notable Performer. I win a trio 8 the banker, 1, 6, 7, 9.